What if the difference between, having an ordinary career, the slow climb, predictable steps, maybe feeling a bit stuck, and achieving something truly extraordinary? What if that hinged on mastering just one skill?
And not the skill you might think, right? Not necessarily deep coding or data science.
Exactly. Something maybe more accessible. Something requiring perhaps more of a mental shift than a technical one.
That's really the heart of it today, isn't it? We often assume that getting that extraordinary hedge means, well, decades of specialized experience or really complex tech skills.
Right.
But the insights we're diving into today suggest that maybe that assumption is, well, it's becoming outdated. It might even be holding capable people back.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We're digging into the insights and, importantly, the real-world stories from Zahir Ahmad Mir's book, AI Mastery, Ordinary Professionals to Extraordinary Success.
hmm
We're here to really unpack the evidence that AI isn't just a big industry disruptor. It's fundamentally changing individual careers. For everyday professionals, think lawyers, teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at this phenomenon of, you could call it accelerated success, how people are kind of leapfrogging years of traditional career hurdles.
And achieving outcomes that used to be, well, reserved for the top experts.
Precisely. And often it comes down to adopting the right tools, yes, but crucially, embracing a particular mindset.
So why should you, our listener, care about this right now? Well, if you're looking for that quick, thorough understanding, that aha moment, this is your shortcut.
You don't necessarily need to sign up for a huge AI certification tomorrow.
No, you need the practical playbook.
Right.
We're going to show you how specific, non-technical professionals we mentioned, a lawyer, a teacher, also a small business owner, how they're gaining this huge edge right now.
And why this kind of transformation is potentially available to you too, regardless of where you are technically.
It feels like the rules for professional success.
hmm
They've genuinely been rewritten. We're here to unpack the proof.
Okay, so if you want to shift from those, let's say, ordinary linear results to something more exponential, extraordinary, you have to grasp this new calculus of success.
And Mir's book identifies 4 core insights, right? These seem to dictate whether professionals really thrive or just kind of survive in this new landscape.
That's right, 4 key pillars.
So the first one really sets the stage, philosophically. And it's maybe the most revolutionary idea here. AI is an equalizer.
Yeah, this is fascinating. The idea is that AI functions in a fundamentally democratic way.
Democratic. How so?
Well, think about it. Historically, industrial, professional power relied heavily on scale, right? Huge capital, massive teams.
Look, a big pharma company dominating research because they can afford, 50 regulatory analysts.
Exactly that. Or a giant law firm that can tie up a dozen paralegals for weeks just cross-referencing global case law. Those resources were the barriers to entry, huge ones.
Okay, I see. So if you were a smaller firm, a solo lawyer, maybe a boutique consultancy, you were fundamentally limited by time and money. Your output was capped.
Right. Capped by billable hours or salaries.
Right.
But AI introduces what you could call technological democracy.
Okay.
Suddenly, a solo professional or a small agile team, they can subscribe to a service maybe a few $100s a month and access analytical power that rivals those giants.
So processing market trends, synthesizing legal data, running global ad campaigns, things that were unthinkable before.
Exactly. They're suddenly competing directly. The size of your bank account starts to matter less than the speed and creativity of how you integrate AI.
Yeah.
It lowers that resource threshold dramatically.
That makes sense. The leverage is clear. But doesn't that create a different problem? Like information overload. If everyone gets access to these powerful tools, where's the real advantage? Does the bottleneck just shift somewhere else?
Good question. And that brings us right to the second core insight, which tackles the quantifiable edge. The new power equation is speed plus accuracy.
Speed plus accuracy.
Okay, the advantage isn't just having the tool. It's that the tool shatters the old trade-off. The faster you go, the more mistakes you make.
Yeah, that classic trade-off. We've had tools to make us faster, sure. A word processor beats a typewriter. And tools for accuracy, a calculator, is better than mental math.
Right.
But usually, pushing for extreme speed means errors creep in. Human oversight, fatigue, rushed analysis.
That's precisely the trade-off AI helps eliminate. The really transformative thing is getting both benefits at the same time.
Both. How?
The AI handles the heavy cognitive lifting, the repetitive checks, the vast data cross-referencing, basically all the tasks where humans tend to introduce errors when they're tired or overwhelmed.
Okay.
And that frees up the human professional for the stuff AI can't do easily. Judgment, high-level strategy, client relationships, creative problem solving, the uniquely human bits.
So it flips the ratio. Instead of spending, say, 80% of your time gathering and checking data, the slow, error-prone part, and maybe 20% on strategy?
The AI helps reverse that. Maybe you spend 5% verifying the AI's output and then 95% of your time developing those custom solutions, focusing on the higher value work.
That's a huge shift. That compounding effect, working faster and smarter, that's where the exponential edge comes from.
Exactly. It's not about just working longer hours anymore. It's about applying human judgment to much larger, much cleaner data sets, much faster. That's how you get weeks of work done in hours.
Which brings us to maybe the elephant in the room. If the tools are out there and the results are so good, why isn't everyone doing this already? That must be the third insight. Mindset over skill set.
Yes, this is crucial. The sources are really clear. The real transformation demands that curiosity outweighs fear.
Curiosity over fear.
And experimentation trumps hesitation. This is often the biggest psychological hurdle people face.
I think we can all relate to that resistance, can't we? You see a new tool, maybe it looks complicated, and that little voice pipes up, oh, I don't have time for this. Or even worse, that kind of existential dread. Is this going to replace me? Why should I help it?
Precisely. And the barrier, interestingly, isn't usually technical knowledge. You don't need to be a coder to use most of these tools we're talking about, the generative AI, the analytical platforms.
So what is the barrier then?
Often it's just inertia. The ordinary professional in this model waits. They wait for the company budget, they wait for the manager to assign training, they wait for the tool to be absolutely perfect and risk-free.
Which might never happen.
Right. And the extraordinary professional,
They jump in sooner.
they start experimenting now, they grab the consumer-grade tools, the free trials, whatever is available, and they start poking at the things that frustrate them in their current workflow. They're proactive.
So they look at the most tedious task, the biggest time sink, and ask.
Could an AI partner help with this? Could it free me up for something more valuable? Success, Mir argues, isn't so much about knowing how the AI works deep down, but being brave enough to try it out and creatively see what it can do for you.
It's like intellectual humility meets radical adaptability.
That's a great way to put it, yes.
Okay, but if AI is doing all this heavy lifting, the research, the synthesis, what's actually left for the human, that leads us to the fourth insight, doesn't it? Clarifying the relationship. AI as partner, not replacement.
Exactly. True mastery here comes from sophisticated collaboration. It's not about just handing over your job description to a machine.
No.
It's about redefining your role as the ultimate quality control, the strategic director. You leverage the AI's, frankly, superhuman capacity and speed while you provide the things AI can't.
Yeah.
Human intelligence, ethical judgment, real-world context, strategic foresight.
I sometimes picture it like this. The AI drafts a brilliant, exhaustive 100-page report in maybe half an hour. Citations perfect, data points all there.
Okay.
But only the human professional knows which 5 pages really matter to this specific client right now, or how to frame those findings to navigate a tricky internal political situation, or what recommendation to prioritize next.
That's a perfect analogy. AI is the world's fastest analyst, researcher, content creator. The human sets the goal, provides the context, applies the ethical filter, and makes the final call.
So the extraordinary professional is really an effective manager of this digital partner.
Yes. They're the conductor, ensuring the superpowered orchestra plays the right tune at the right time for the right audience. That partnership model, that's the final piece of this philosophical shift.
Okay, that lays out the philosophy really clearly. The 4 insights, leveling the field, speed plus accuracy, mindset over skill set, and partnership. That's the theory.
The foundation, yeah.
But theory is one thing. Now it gets really interesting, I think. We dive into 3 specific case studies. Real people, quantifiable results across totally different fields. This is the theory in action.
And these stories really show that the edge isn't some far-off future thing. It's immediate, it's measurable if you apply that mindset we just talked about.
All right, let's start in the legal world. Imran, the junior lawyer. What was his ordinary bottleneck? What was holding him back?
Imran's situation is, well, it's almost a cliche in law, especially for junior folks. Legal research. It's absolutely essential foundational work.
Yeah. Can't build a case without it.
Exactly. But it's brutal. It's incredibly labor-intensive. You're hunting down precedents, cross-referencing statutes, checking citations, untangling conflicting rulings. It's painstaking.
And time-consuming.
Hugely. For a junior lawyer prepping a major case, this could easily eat up 2-3 weeks of solid work, maybe more, involving paralegals, associates, it's expensive, it's slow, and honestly prone to human error. But you have to do it.
Okay, so that's the bottleneck.
Yeah.
The source says his solution was using AI research assistants, specifically for law.
Yes, and we're not talking about some bespoke multi-million-dollar system built in-house. These are commercially available tools, often subscription-based, that are trained specifically on legal language and structures.
So they understand legal concepts, not just keywords.
Precisely. The AI doesn't just do a keyword search. It can ingest the case brief, identify the core legal questions, scan decades of case law, state, federal, and, crucially, flag inconsistencies or jurisdictional nuances in minutes sometimes.
Okay, minutes versus weeks, that's dramatic. What was the result of that speed gain for Imran?
The outcome is genuinely stunning. He cut his case prep time from weeks down to just a handful of hours.
Weeks to hours, wow.
And the immediate payoff, he won his first major case.
Incredible. That time compression isn't just about efficiency, is it?
Yeah.
It must give a massive strategic advantage. I remember starting out, research meant physical archives or clunky digital libraries, days of work,
Right.
the psychological shift alone. But what about the risk? How did he trust the AI wasn't just making things up or missing something crucial?
That's where the partnership model is key. The AI delivered the foundation, maybe 90% of the repetitive data sifting and validation. Imran, the human expert, then used all that saved time, those weeks, to focus purely on strategy, crafting the argument, prepping witnesses, understanding the judge, building the narrative.
So he shifted his effort to the higher value, uniquely human tasks.
Exactly. He wasn't just faster, he was strategically sharper because he had exponentially more time to think and prepare the human elements of the case. The AI provided the ammo, he aimed and fired. That's an extraordinary outcome.
Okay, let's switch gears. From the courtroom to the classroom. Farah, the teacher. Her challenge sounds familiar, keeping students engaged, especially with larger class sizes, diverse needs.
Yeah, teaching faces this constant tension, scale versus personalization. It's incredibly hard to meet every student's individual needs when you have 30 kids in a room.
So the standard approach is standardized lesson plans.
Generally, yes, and those inevitably miss the mark for some kids. Some get bored because it's too easy, others get lost because it's too hard. Engagement drops, and overall progress suffers.
So Farah's solution involved AI lesson planners to create personalized learning journeys. How does that actually work? How does an AI personalize lessons for a whole class?
This is where you really see the aha moment. Personalized learning used to be the domain of, expensive private tutors or tiny classes.
Right.
Farah used AI planning tools that could ingest real-time student data, maybe from quizzes, homework, even quick in-class responses.
So it's analyzing performance on the fly.
Exactly. The AI spots patterns like, okay, 70% of the class is struggling with concept X, but this other 30% is already acing it and ready for the next thing.
And based on that data.
It automatically generates differentiated materials. Maybe it suggests a visual explanation for one group, a practical exercise for another, and a more advanced challenge problem for the kids who are ahead.
So Farah walks in not with one lesson plan, but maybe 3 tailored variations?
Essentially, yes, driven by objective data. She's effectively managing multiple learning tracks simultaneously, supported by the AI. It's like having teaching assistants for different groups, all managed through one interface.
And the result, the proof this worked.
It's directly measurable and quite remarkable. Her classroom test scores jumped by 30%.
30%. That's huge in education.
It's massive. It shows the AI didn't just save her planning time, though it probably did. It fundamentally boosted the effectiveness of her teaching.
Because the learning was targeted to individual needs.
Precisely. The AI partnership enabled personalization at scale. That's ordinary effort, plus AI leverage yielding an extraordinary impact on the students themselves.
All right, our third story takes us into business. Khalid, the small business owner. Classic entrepreneurial challenge. Limited reach, standard local marketing. Growth is capped by geography.
Yeah, this brings us straight back to that leveling the playing field idea combined with speed plus accuracy. Before AI, if Khalid wanted to sell beyond his local area, say, target a niche market overseas.
You'd need serious resources, right? International consultants, complex market research, big ad spends across different countries.
Exactly. Months of work, huge costs, simply out of reach for most small businesses. His growth was inherently limited by those traditional barriers.
So his solution, AI marketing tools. What could these tools do for him that was impossible before?
What AI brings here is predictive precision and scalability without needing a proportionally larger team. These tools can analyze global market trends almost instantly.
Okay.
But crucially, they can also run hundreds, maybe thousands, of tiny experiments simultaneously, A/B
Wow.
testing ad copy, visuals, targeting different customer segments in different languages, all at once.
Find the exact right message for dozens of different groups.
Yes, and identifying the most effective approach within days or even hours, not months. Then, they can automatically manage the ad buying across multiple global platforms, a task that used to require a whole team of specialists.
So the AI basically acted as his super efficient global marketing department, handling the research, the testing, the ad placement.
Pretty much. It smashed the language barrier, the research barrier, and the sheer labor cost of that kind of granular global testing. Khalid got the kind of targeting and scale that was previously only available to huge corporations.
Making his limited budget work much, much harder.
Exactly. Focusing it only on the most receptive audiences, wherever they happen to be.
And the results, the tangible benefit.
The results really underscore the economic impact. Khalid reached global customers, expanded his market dramatically, and the bottom line, doubled his revenue.
Doubled revenue.
In just 1 year.
Wow. That's extraordinary growth for any business, let alone a small one.
Absolutely. It confirms the AI partnership let him scale his income dramatically without needing to scale his physical operation or marketing headcount in the same way. It turned his local shop into an international player.
Okay, so those three stories, Imran, Farah, Khalid, they really nail the case for AI driving individual success. Legal speed, educational impact, global business growth.
Yeah, the individual transformation is clear.
But the book argues this doesn't stop at the individual level, does it? When AI is used strategically, it seems to have these broader societal effects, particularly around leveling economic opportunity.
Exactly. This is where we zoom out a bit, from personal careers to wider economic impact. And there's a really powerful, quite uplifting example in Mir's research, the Pakistani NGO initiative.
Right.
This example really drives home that core idea: mindset trumps infrastructure.
Okay, tell us about it. This initiative trained rural women, specifically in AI-powered freelancing tools. Let's emphasize the context. Rural setting, potentially limited infrastructure, maybe significant social or cultural barriers to traditional employment for women.
That context is critical. The focus on AI-powered freelancing tools is key. They taught skills like AI-assisted translation, advanced content summarization, automated data analysis, sophisticated virtual assistants, tasks powered by readily available AI platforms.
Which makes the work inherently location independent, right?
Right.
It's all digital.
Precisely. And because the output is digital, a translated document, a summarized report, analyzed data, the execution of the work can become effectively gender neutral. It bypasses many traditional constraints tied to physical presence or local norms.
Okay, so this single initiative managed to tackle several barriers at once.
Yes, it's simultaneously shattered 3 fundamental barriers to opportunity. It's a fantastic illustration of AI's potential for equitable development.
Let's break those down. What were the 3 barriers?
Okay, first, geography. Historically, living in a remote rural area meant your income was tied to the local economy. Very limited potential.
But online work changes that.
Completely. With basic internet, you can deliver high-value digital work to a client in London, New York, anywhere. Suddenly, that rural location isn't an economic disadvantage anymore. These women plug directly into the global economy.
Barrier 1, geography, shattered. Second.
Gender. In many conservative regions, social norms or lack of mobility might prevent women from entering the formal physical workforce. Online, AI-powered freelance work bypasses many of those traditional barriers. It's about the digital skill and output, not physical presence or conforming to local employment structures.
Makes sense. And the third barrier.
Opportunity itself. In areas where formal jobs are scarce or simply non-existent, this created a viable, sustainable way to earn income. It fostered immediate economic agency where there was little before. It basically turned a potential disadvantaged lack of local industry into a launchpad for global digital services.
That really is the equalizer principle in action, isn't it? And the impact was quantified.
Yes. The results were striking. Within just 6 months, hundreds of women involved in this program were earning consistent online income.
Hundreds, wow.
And often their earnings surpassed those of men working in more traditional local jobs in the same areas.
That's incredible. It really counters the narrative that AI is only for the tech elite or rich countries.
Absolutely. It proves the transformative power is accessible even with limited resources. The crucial element wasn't high-end infrastructure. It was the training and the mindset, seeing AI tools as a creative solution to the very real problem of generating income and finding professional mobility.
It shows this opportunity is potentially open to anyone willing to adapt and apply the tools creatively. Hard to argue with hundreds of new entrepreneurs created in just 6 months.
So these stories, from the individual to the societal level, they really validate the core premise, which means we need to synthesize the final takeaways and confront what the source suggests is a pretty stark choice facing every professional now.
Okay, let's recap that central argument again. Ordinary professionals can achieve extraordinary results using AI. We've seen the proof. What's the single common thread, the crucial ingredient across all these examples?
It is emphatically not deep technical expertise. It's not about being able to build the AI.
Yeah.
It's the mindset, the willingness, the creativity to use AI as a strategic partner.
And creative use here doesn't mean something abstract, does it? It means something practical.
Very practical. It means looking at your own work, your own profession, not as a fixed set of tasks, but as a system you can optimize.
So identifying the bottlenecks, the repetitive stuff, the things that slow you down or cause errors.
Exactly. Whether that's legal research, designing lesson plans, finding customers, analyzing data, writing reports, whatever it is in your field. And then proactively looking for an AI tool that can help you smash that bottleneck. Partner with it.
You have to be the one to initiate it then.
Mhm.
You can't just wait for corporate training or for your boss to tell you which tool to use.
That's the key. It requires that curiosity we talked about, the willingness to experiment, maybe stumble a bit, try a few things before you find the right AI partner for your specific need.
Okay. And this proactive mindset, this willingness to partner, it leads us to the final critical point from the book, which sounds almost like a warning, the bifurcation of careers.
Yes. Bifurcation, a split. Mears' analysis is pretty stark here. It suggests that going forward, every professional career path essentially has two versions, the with AI version and the without AI version.
Two paths.
And this isn't some future prediction. The claim is it's happening right now across all industries.
We've seen the with AI versions.
Yeah.
Imran taking weeks down to hours, Pharaoh boosting scores by 30%, Khalid doubling his revenue. Those are the success stories.
Right. And the book contrasts this sharply with the alternative path. The with AI trajectory leads towards success, relevance, increased value. The without AI path, the conclusion is pretty blunt. It leads towards professional irrelevance.
Irrelevance, and a strong word. It sounds sudden, like getting fired, but maybe it's more of a slow fate. Why is irrelevance the likely outcome for the professional who doesn't integrate AI?
It comes down to basic economics, really. Cost efficiency and scale. Imagine two professionals, equally smart, equally good at the human skills judgment, client interaction. One refuses to use AI. They do their research, drafting, analysis at what we could call 1x human speed. The other integrates AI strategically. They perform the same core tasks, but maybe achieve the output in a tenth of the time, often with higher accuracy on the repetitive parts because the machine doesn't get tired or make calculation errors.
The organization, or the client, is going to favor the 10x output, surely.
Not just the organization, the market itself will. The 1x professionals simply can't compete on speed, throughput, or often cost. Their work effectively costs more for less output.
Right.
If your colleague or a competitor can reliably do 5 weeks of your core analytical work in 5 hours and potentially do it more accurately, the market will inevitably shift towards that efficiency.
So you're not competing against the AI itself.
You're competing against another person who is effectively leveraging the AI. Irrelevance in this context isn't about being replaced by a robot. It's about being outperformed by a human-AI partnership. It's the natural consequence of sticking with 1x speed when the competition is operating at 10x, 50x. It's like insisting on using a horse and carriage when everyone else is driving a car.
That really puts it into perspective. It forces you, the listener, to really think, which version of my professional future am I actively building right now? Because doing nothing, just waiting, that's effectively choosing the path towards irrelevance.
And getting people to reflect on that and hopefully take that first step towards experimentation, that's really the whole point of this deep dive, I think. #outro.
So today we've unpacked these incredible, measurable success stories. Weeks of work shrinking to hours in law, educational results jumping 30% in teaching, revenue doubling for a small business reaching global markets.
Yeah, these aren't just anecdotes. They define what professional effectiveness increasingly looks like today.
And they all point to the same thing. The power is accessible, The technical barrier isn't as high as you might think, and the real differentiator is that proactive mindset, that willingness to adopt and partner.
It's about adoption, not necessarily invention.
But let me leave you with one final thought, something to chew on. Building on where these trends might be heading, we've seen how today's AI helps us answer questions faster, how to research the case, plan the lesson, target the ad. We use them to synthesize information and execute tasks quicker.
Speeding up the human workflow.
But think about the near future. What happens when the next wave of AI agents doesn't just answer our questions based on the context we provide, but starts to act on those answers autonomously?
So moving from decision support to autonomous execution.
Exactly. If the AI can research the case and draft the initial motions, if it can identify the market trend and automatically launch and manage the global ad campaign based on real-time results,
Then our role shifts again, doesn't it?
it shifts dramatically.
Right.
We move from being the primary doer, maybe even the primary strategist in some areas, to becoming the visionary, the ethical compass, the ultimate quality control supervisor, overseeing these hyper-efficient autonomous systems.
That's a profound shift. And that's the future we arguably need to start preparing for right now.
And how do we prepare?
Well, based on everything we've discussed, the preparation starts not with rushing into a coding boot camp necessarily, but with cultivating that mindset of relentless experimentation and partnership today.
Start small.
Start small, experiment often, actively look for those bottlenecks in your current work that an AI could potentially smash. That's the first step on the path.
The world is filling up with stories like Imran's, Farah's, and Khalid's. Our hope is you'll internalize these possibilities and begin your own journey of experimentation today.